So excuse the mess of this room, as it is not usually this bad, but I'm about to head out on a vacation to go visit my family and go see, this weekend I'm gonna go watch the Ohio State versus Michigan game in Ohio for Thanksgiving, and I'm just really excited around. And then my excitedness got banned by this stupid Jubilee video that I have. I don't usually make content like this, but I felt like this was the kind of video that I need to talk about. This video is called "Should Parents Ban Topics from Schools?" And I just want to start off by saying I don't think that any parent should ever ban a topic from a school. I mean, obviously, there's certain lines that we can't cross. And I'm only going to be talking about one specific part of this video. It's a 7-minute section out of the 41-minute video. If you really care enough to see the whole video, you can go watch the video at Jubilee's channel. I'm not going to show the whole 41-minute video for obvious reasons. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this for a minute because I was watching this last night, and some of the talks that these people have and the views they have are just fucking insane, absolutely delusional. Let's take a look at it.
Discussion about sexuality doesn't belong in schools.
So I'm going to start off with my hot take here, because I feel like it is best if I'm reviewing this video that we should have my take on it. I disagree. I think that sexuality is a very important part to be talking about in school and a very important thing to be talking about. For those of you who don't know, and if you really want to question me about it, you can have, or I can link sources if you need. I don't care. But if you have proper sex ed, and by proper sex ed, I mean like teaching kids who understand their ability at their cognitive function, certain things happen is bad, and if this happens, this is okay, whatever, teaching that kind of stuff, I think, or you have a lower likelihood of teen pregnancy and a lower likelihood of children being assaulted, etc. So my take is sexuality is very important to be talked about in school, because then you have people who aren't traumatized. So let's keep going and see what happens.
I had a sex ed class when I was in 3rd grade, and it was quite simple. Boys go in this room, girls go in this room, they play a little video on a black and white TV. You see the genitalia, and you're like, oh God, I got one of those, cool, now we're figuring out what I am.
I'm sorry, Sean, but looking like that, there's no way in hell that you've ever had a sex ed class. You don't know anything. You've never even been laid in your life, much less talked to a woman before this Jubilee encounter. Sorry, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
The fear is these schools have no boundaries. If they do the classroom thing where they want to split kids up, how many genders are we going to do this? We're going to put boys, them, and then girls, and then how many rooms do we need to create for equality? Or are we really chasing equity?
Sean, once again, who gives a shit? You don't have to split anyone up, and, most kids, when they learn about sex ed, don't actually care. Spoiler alert. And also, who cares? Even if we're gonna split it up into third genders, who gives a fuck? I don't understand.
And I think parents now are beginning to realize we've got to stop this and create framework about sexuality, especially in a hyper-sexualized culture. My kids don't need to know at 6, 7, and 8 years old about different types of sexual acts. That's not appropriate.
People think that this is just kind of happening, it's a one-off. It is in so many schools.
So, Sean, first off, I want to know, what school is teaching your child about different kinds of sex acts? What school is teaching your child, hey, if you put your penis in somebody's mouth, that's called a blowjob? And Quisha, I have to know, what schools specifically, not from Twitter or Facebook or whatever the fuck, what school specifically is it that has these issues that you're talking about? These parents are sitting here on Facebook and they see one fucking Karen post something made up and act like that's how schools work. You're fucking 50 years old. You don't know anything about schools and how they function. Stop.
Where I live in Florida, there was a poster going around where kids could text anonymous strangers to get information about sex. And on this poster in school, want to get laid?
Wow.
I mean, it's beyond, and there is a push for pleasure-based sex.
First off, that story that Keisha gave here never fucking happened. Also, even if there was an anonymous text number where people could reach out and text certain people to ask them about sex, who cares? I am very misunderstanding, I guess, what the fucking point is and what the hoopla and the comeuppance is about kids being kids and asking questions. You see all these people wanting to, or saying that kids should just be kids. We shouldn't be forcing LGBTQ propaganda, whatever, down their throats. But like, bro, it's not forcing them to be like, hey, this is bad if this happens to you, and you tell them no. Also, if we have this increased amount of sex ed, then we have a lot less rape cases, which is something that we probably don't want to hear about, but it's true. So it's a very frustrating issue for me.
Pleasure for who?
My oldest is 9 years old. She's in third grade and she's been exposed to things, and we do have conversations about it. But that's a conversation that I should be having with my 9-year-old daughter. If a sixth grader or a fourth grader is going to be prompted by a teacher, hey, what are your pronouns? As a parent, I should have a heads up about that, because they're not even going to understand the question. And so I think that the idea that those conversations are started in the classroom instead of in the home is a big problem.
I would fully disagree with this stupid ass Karen's take. No, it's not a problem that a parent, or not a parent, excuse me, a teacher asks a student, hey, how would you like to be identified as? That is basic common etiquette, I feel like. I don't get why people are always in such comeuppance about, if you have pronouns, you're bad. Like, bro, you literally have pronouns. What? It's such a stupid take from these people. They don't know anything. Like, I'm so confused, and I probably just don't understand, like, what they're thinking about, because their brains are so fucking broken, but it's not a problem. If a child who is assigned male at birth feels like they're a girl, then let them fucking feel like a girl. Obviously, you don't have to, like, give them surgery or whatever the fuck people think is happening. You could just have them dress however they want, because, let's be real, boys and girls look the exact same, physiologically at 6. But, you know, whatever, like, who cares? Why is this such a big deal that a teacher asks a student who they, like, how they want to be identified as, so then they can have the basic human respect? Why are you, as a parent, not fucking teaching kids, hey, you should be nice to your fellow classmates who say that they want to identify this way? It's so frustrating to me, and very, very confusing.
Family member who first day of 6th grade was asked for her pronouns, and she stood up and said that as a person of faith, she believed that God didn't make a mistake making her a girl, and so therefore she identified as a she, her, and she was sent to the principal's office and punished for that decision. Thankfully, we haven't seen that broadly yet, but I think it's really damaging to take a shy, innocent 11-year-old child and make them stand in front of a classroom and determine something that they maybe haven't even put that much thought into.
Yeah, they haven't put that much thought into them because you don't want to fucking talk to them about it. Also, there's no way in hell that that story is true. There's no way that a child stood up in front of the classroom after being asked what her pronouns were, said, hey, I'm a fucking Jehovah's Witness and I identify as she, her, because there's no way that Allah didn't make a mistake. You're actually a fucking liar.
I like what you said, Sean, about how you were emphasizing, how a lot of parents today felt a goodness of the way that sexual education was conducted in the past. So there is an agreement that sexuality should be talked about in schools. The disagreement is whether it should just be purely heteronormative or if we should include all aspects of sexuality. I don't think that we're doing demonstrations to encourage children how to have sex, but this is something that we are trying to, again, educate and make them aware that this kind of things happen. And while you grow up, you're going to have to experience somebody who's of this orientation.
Kids are naturally curious, and I think that what I'm hearing from you is I understand where you're maybe potentially coming from, but then where's the line between that sex education and introducing them to porn? Because porn can be educational. I was a virgin when I got married, and for years I was made fun of and heard, well, how are you going to know if you don't try it? We hear that a lot too.
Yeah, she just seems like the kind of person who was a virgin for years and got made fun of for being a virgin. Bro, if you're fucking mad because people called you a turbo virgin on Twitter, get a life. Who fucking cares? Who cares if someone calls you a virgin? Like, it doesn't matter. I don't understand why people get so fucking uptight about this shit. It's so stupid.
If you haven't tried to kiss a girl to see if you like it or not, then how do you really know that you're not a lesbian? How do you really know that you're not gay if you've never slept with a guy? How do you really know that you want to be in a monogamous relationship if you don't sleep around? And when you start to introduce those questions to children, specifically prepubescent ones, they're going to naturally be curious, and their emotional and hormonal maturity is not there to be making those types of decisions that have lifelong impact.
I just want to say, I do not think that these decisions have lifelong impact, because if you think that you might be gay, and then you kiss a boy and you find out that you're not gay, that's not lifelong impact at all. So why are you being so fucking dramatic about it? Also, what the hell was she talking about with that big ass whinge about how, like, parent or kids are going to be naturally curious? Did she not realize that most kids at school will just randomly start making out with people? I know when I was in high school 3 short years ago, we used to have fucking girls and guys and girls and girls and guys just start making out in the middle of the hallway. I fail to understand what the issue is, first off. And secondly, why it's such an issue to begin with. Who gives a fuck if you aren't into anything that Susan around the corner is? What? It's so stupid to me.
Well, you're right, and a lot of them are learning at home because just like you guys are saying, they come home to tell you things. Well, guess what? Those same kids come to school to talk about what you're telling them at home. You'll be surprised what I hear from students when I do a "What do you think?" Well, let me tell you what my mama and daddy did. And look, I don't have time. Your kid is not that important to me. Not to be rude, I got like 300 students. Your kid is no more important than the other 299. So I don't have time to sit up here and let me get you to think like me. I can't get my own 23-year-old to think like me. At the end of the day, what needs to happen, and this is just my own personal take, parents need to start being parents because a lot of times the teachers are the parents. They're parenting your kids because absentee parenting.
I think that this conversation is really interesting, and I think we need to step back and look at why we automatically assume that if we're telling our children about lesbians, gay people, queer people, why do we immediately equivocate that to telling them about what sex is? That can just be something as simple as, here is a book. In this book, there are two dads. This book character has two dads.
I really love this take from this teacher because she's 100% correct. Why is it sexual when two dads are together or two men are together, but it's not sexual when a man and a woman are together? It is such a wonderful take from this lady, and I love it so much. She's so fucking smart when it comes to this shit.
And kids, they can be inquisitive, and that's good, right? But also, like, they're gonna be like, cool, there's two dads.
All these kids know that there's a dad and a dad and a mom and a mom, and the culture is teaching all of that. So what we've noticed is that the curriculum in 8th grade and up is a lot deeper than that. It's more like, here is how you can have sex so you do not get pregnant. Illustration of anal sex.
First off, I just want to say, no, there's no illustration of anal sex when talking about stuff that you can do so that way you don't get pregnant, I guess. Fucking wild. Secondly, more importantly, you haven't noticed anything. You just heard what Facebook said about 8th grade curriculum and up, so then you thought that was really happening, but in reality, you don't know shit. You're a fucking dumb woman who doesn't know anything. Actually a fucking idiot. And secondly, or furthermore, you've never been to a high school sex ed class, so you can't, like, know. Also, are you gonna sit there and make sure that a parent doesn't fucking do that? And on top of that, who cares if there's a mom and a dad and a dad and a mom or a dad? Like, who gives a fuck? I don't understand why this is such an issue and why we're making such a big comeuppance about it.
That is the stuff that we're now reacting against, and that sadly is the trust that's being broken between teachers and parents.
Yeah, and I think we're moving into a conversation about comprehensive sex ed. What I am talking about is when I go into this classroom and I'm teaching kids, I'm not going to just teach kids material that is heteronormative.
Out of curiosity, it sounds like what you're saying is you want to be able to introduce all ways of life. Like these are the people that you will encounter with throughout life.
That is what I'm arguing, yes.
So would it be okay to include a book with a man having a relationship with a 12-year-old in that book?
Sean needs to be put on a list right away. I love how Sean's fucking idea of, two parents who are both of the same sex have a kid together. What about if a 12-year-old is with a fucking man who's 50? Bro, what are you saying? That's a self-report. That is literally a self-report. Pedophilia is not a victimless crime. You can't just sit here and act like it's a victimless crime. Fucking insane delusion from these people.
I know it's extreme.
No.
Hold on, but just hear me out.
Because now you're equivocating gay people to pedophiles.
No, I'm not.
And no, that's not who that is.
No. You're drawing a line that I'm not drawing.
And you're definitely crossing the line.
I agree. I agree. And this is why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, I agree that the line shouldn't be crossed, and I'm not saying that gay people are pedophiles, but if a pedophile was with a man, or was with a 12-year-old boy, would that be okay? Would you teach them about that? Not saying that gay people are pedophiles, but also gay people are pedophiles. Like, bro, what is wrong with you? You're fucking delusional.
Who establishes the boundary?
The law.
But what
Period.
law? The law is
But the law that's been signed in is some
No,
blue
I'm
states.
sorry. No, there's laws against between adults having sex with children. Now, if a student had two parents who happen to be of the same sex, I'm not going to sit there and discount who they are in my class. I cannot do that. I sign a contract.
I would never ask anybody to uplift or suppress any child. I want there to be equality in the classroom. What I am saying is that there are factual instances where this is being taught in classrooms. I pulled my children out of public school because there are so many instances of this happening. I am a parent. I'm looking in the book bag every day. I'm checking in with homework. I am talking to the teachers and the principals, and I'm involved. But we didn't know that, you know, during class, there were images shown of literal sex acts or describing certain situations that were inappropriate for young children.
So, first off, I just want to say she seemed like the kind of person that is just the most annoying fucking parent at a PTA meeting. But also, I have to ask, if you're going to teach a kid about sex and what should and shouldn't happen, how do you do that without describing situations that are, quote, inappropriate for young children, or without showing pictures or anything? Do you just say, this is bad? If this happens, that's bad. Like, I don't understand why she's fucking freaking out about it so deep. It's really not that deep. Honestly, sex is not that much of a taboo subject anymore unless you're a fucking conservative, far right-winger Amish mafia lady who lives in the fucking middle of nowhere of Ohio, of Bumblefuck, Mississippi too or something. I don't know. It doesn't really make any sense to me why they're complaining so much about this. But also, who cares? Like, you can't teach someone something without showing them what it is. That's not how you teach.
We have a belief system at home, and the children want to break the boundaries of that belief system naturally because we're human beings. That's just what we do. And we're trying to confine them to a set of beliefs to say, this is what is right in our home.
And that's a fucking problem. If you have to tell your child that this is how things go in our home, that is a problem with you as a parent. No child should ever be forced to get rid of societal norms because you don't like it. That is the issue. That is literally the entire fucking issue. Just because you don't like gay people doesn't mean that your children shouldn't like gay people. It's so fucking stupid and really annoying.
And we're seeing the schools get funding from Planned Parenthood. They tried to pass a bill to put medical facilities to offer abortions in high schools here in California. And it's gradual, right? It starts with, this is a book that has two dads. This is a book with two moms. And it's just a gradual curiosity that could leverage and break away that child from the root in the home.
So, first off, I want to say about the Planned Parenthood thing, who cares? That's actually a good thing. If you have a child who, for example, has sex against their will and ends up getting pregnant, wonderful. They should have that ability. Who cares? Kids aren't gonna just fucking go out and rip their uteruses out or whatever. I don't care. Secondly, who cares if you're being ripped out of your norms of the home if it's more beneficial for society? Such a stupid take from these people, and these people are just so stupid. I keep saying how dumb they are and how annoying they are, but they're just actually dumb. They're literally eating a box of crayons and being like, "Oh, you don't like it because you're just sipping the Kool-Aid."
My education growing up was fully public education. College is where I started getting a curiosity for truth and education, and I think I'm so passionate about the education system today because it is obviously broken, but how do we fix it? Many of these progressive ideas in fixing it is just more empathy, sympathy, safety, but in reality, I see the public school system isn't actually accomplishing the goal of what education is, which is teaching critical thinking, how to understand, how to ask good questions, and then comprehend how to problem solve.
All right, and that's gonna be all I'm gonna show from this video. If you guys want to know, this is on Jubilee's YouTube channel. This is Should Parents Ban Topics from Schools? And I just wanted to talk about this for a little bit because I feel like that this is a very important issue where people are just fucking delusional about what happens, and then you have dumbasses like Sean who ended off with, the education system isn't teaching what it should be. Instead of teaching critical thinking, it's teaching that it's okay to be gay. And if you say it's bad to be okay then, or bad to be gay, then you're just a bigot. Which is true, because why should you be judging people based off fucking anything, unless they do a lot of shit to you, in which case, cool. I don't care. But yeah, long story short, I just want to talk about this. I'm sorry for the longer video, and that this is a video video type that I don't usually do, but I just had to sit down and talk about it because this was fucking wild as I was listening to it last night. And I just feel like that this is a very important issue to be talking about. These people were the dumbest goddamn people I've ever met in my life. And that's going to be about all. Take it easy.